Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
I'm Ellie, and it's your favorite. It's Monday.
It's Hot Goss Day. And I'm very excited for this one, not only because we love doing Hot Goss episodes. It's so fun to research the topics and talk about them and everything. But we are finally, and I don't want to say finally because I've had so much fun doing it, but we are breaking away from SJM this week. And I know, honestly, part of it pains me a little to say that because I could literally talk about theories on her book. Clearly, we've done so many episodes, and we have so many more ideas for her books.
Just and SJM,
Like, there's just so many opportunities and different, like, open endings that we could theorize on. And so it's just so fun to do it. And I love the worlds that she builds, so it's even more fun on top of that.
And what really adds to it is the fact that these are such popular books that, like, so many people have read them. And so then we get so much interaction with everybody else because they're like, this is what my thoughts are. These are what my thoughts are. Totally. And it's so great where, you know, we could talk about another really good book that we love, but it's like, maybe a lot of people haven't read it and then we don't get a lot of interaction. Then we're just kind of talking to ourselves, which is still fun. I'll still talk to you. But SJM's just brought in this whole new community that is so enjoyable. But it's not like we're breaking away from a very popular
I was just going to say,
author.
Don't fret not. We're not jumping ship.
Friends. Today, we are talking about Rebecca Yarros and our theories on Onyx Storm.
Ayo, I'm so excited for this one.
As you should be. This is going to be a good one. We put a little like sneak peek in our stories, and the reactions we got were so excited. Yeah. So I'm excited.
You all were right.
I hope you're excited.
If Ellie responded back to the message with a monkey covering their mouth, that means you were right. And
you saw that? That's so funny.
Yes, I obviously went there and looked. But she said that to just about everyone who responded. So that means everyone 100% correct on the responses.
Next time we'll try to be a little bit more subtle, I think. But my goodness.
It was good. And I thought, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to lie. Like, the cover isn't even released yet. I zoomed in so close on the M in Storm and the X in Onyx. Yeah. And I think if it were me, I don't know. I'm like, part of me is like, oh, I totally would guess it. But I also am like, is that just because I know what the picture looked like before I zoomed in? Like, do I actually, because it's not even the, like I said, it's not the official cover yet. It's just like the placeholder cover. And so it's not a cover that I've like studied or anything, but you guys are good.
I don't even know if I want to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up. There is, maybe you know the name. There's a new book that recently released. It's blue and it has a golden circle in the middle. The font is the exact same as Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. And even like the circle, you know how they do the circle for all the covers. It looks like it's a Rebecca Yarros book, but it's not. Do you know what book that is?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've seen it.
I felt like it started with the word heaven, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could, if I sat here for like 5 minutes, I could maybe think of it, but I don't think anyone wants to listen to me thinking, so we'll just move on.
This is called our 5-minute Melissa Thinks segment. I don't know. To me, and this is the hot goss part of the episode, but it bugs me when I feel like authors/illustrators kind of like copy a like very popular trending book, like the style of it. For example, there's a book called Crave. I'm sure the book girlies have read that one. It's another vampire one, but it literally is the same font as Twilight. And I feel like they did that in lieu of Twilight was so big at the time. Let's do something that looks similar to it so people grab it. I feel like that's cheating, but I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard because on one hand, copyright's a thing, but at the same time, no one owns the rights to a font. So...
Yeah, actually, they do.
Is that not true?
That's not true. But but I mean...
Never mind.
You can change up the font just a little and then it's your own.
Slightly enough to... That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does make me think of that this is just how my mind works, that SNL sketch that Ryan Gosling did of the papyrus font with Avatar.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So if you guys haven't, okay, first off, if you haven't seen Avatar, the first, well, either of them, but mostly the first one, go watch it.
The blue, not Avatar the Last Airbender.
Not Avatar the Last Airbender, just Avatar
the movie. Yeah.
Well, they did make Avatar the Last Airbender into a movie. So
James Cameron Avatar. There you go.
Yes, James Cameron Avatar. But they so watch the movie and then go and, if you've already seen it and you haven't watched the SNL sketch, just Google SNL papyrus. Maybe add in Ryan Gosling. I don't know, but it is so. Ryan Gosling is genuinely like one of the funniest people I think in Hollywood right now.
Wow, hot take.
No, he's just like so. No, honestly, like the sketches he does on SNL, like those alien ones that he did with Kate McKinnon. Those are so, and I just think it's because he laughs so easily. It just makes things funnier.
Here's my unpopular opinion for the day. Guys, I think
I'm
going
to agree with you. Oh.
No, you're not. I hate SNL. I have literally never laughed at a sketch. I have never thought anything that they've ever done on SNL was funny. It's like truly as soon as someone's like, watch this, my mouth goes into an actual frown. I can't do it. I don't like it.
I think that you need to watch it with a more open mind. To me, the fact that you said your mouth immediately frowns, it's like you dismiss it before you start.
Maybe, but I think it's also just because I've already watched so many that I'm like, I just know I'm not gonna like it.
But that's what I'm saying. You need to assume that you might.
There was
you need to give it a chance.
What's his name? Peter Dinklage?
Yeah,
he did a skit with Space Pants, yes. And my dad, and maybe it's my dad that's done this to me, he quoted Space Pants, like not even like in context, but we would just be eating dinner and he'd be like, Space Pants, probably for 3 years. And I think that's where I was like, SNL, done.
You're dead to me.
Yeah.
I will say it definitely like goes through seasons where it's better than others, and like it peaked. I mean, for me, I didn't ever watch it like back in the day when Will Ferrell and some of the other big names and stuff were on it. Mm-hmm. But my favorite era was like the Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader,
Maya Hawke,
Seth Meyers, Maya Rudolph, like Amy Poehler, like that.
Hawke. Who am I saying? Yeah, I don't know. Rudolph.
That era of SNL was so funny, and then it kind of was like for a little bit, and then it got a little bit better with like Kate McKinnon and some of the other people around that time. But then for the last handful of years, it hasn't been as great either. But it's still like, and to me, that is just even further proof of how funny Ryan is, because I would go so far as to say I don't think that they're that funny either anymore. But he recently hosted one of the episodes, so I watched it, and I thought it was hilarious and it was just because it was him. Like none of the other cast changed, but it was just him. And I also have heard a lot of other actors in interviews say that he's like just a really funny person to work with. And so then to me, that is just even further proof that he's just like really funny and like fun to be around. And I don't know.
Wow.
Like Russell Crowe.
That is a great segue. Oh, go ahead. Russell Crowe.
Well, I was just going to say Russell Crowe is like known for being so serious on his sets, and he did. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Maybe it was Gerard Butler. No, I think it was Russell Crowe. No, it was Gerard Butler. I
love both. Both are in my favorite musicals, Les and Phantom of the Opera. So go ahead.
Yes. But he said that he's known for being serious on set and stuff. And he did a movie, I can't remember what it's called now, Fall Guys or something, with Ryan Gosling. And he was like, I literally could not keep my composure saying my lines. Like, and it's not because of it was just because of him. Like, he broke me, essentially. Like, he's like, I don't know what he did.
Funny. But he is. Him as Ken did make me laugh. But
my hot take,
I think it's the setting. I won't do it.
My hot take on Ryan Gosling is I don't think he's that attractive. I think he's a very good actor, and he's not ugly, but he's not like top tier for me. And I know I actually think more men find him attractive than women that I speak to. Like, for my husband, Ryan Gosling is like his top male celebrity crush. But like, I've heard that from multiple guys, but I've heard women be like, yeah, he's good looking, but
Okay, so who's your top male celebrity crush?
I have too many, and I don't even know. In the same way I'm a mood reader, I'm a mood male enthusiast, so it changes by day.
That's fair. I have a story though about one of, I think, everybody's top male crushes, and this is actually on my outline because I did not want to forget this. So this past week, Justin Timberlake got a DWI, which, according to the internet, is maybe worse than a DUI. I don't really understand the difference. They're both.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Driving under the influence.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried to Google which one's worse. I think a DUI is worse though. I think a DWI is usually just like goes on your record and is a fine, but a DUI you could go to jail for.
Really? Well,
but there is a difference, and I'm still not 100% sure why there's a difference, but one of them is worse, and I was under the impression that it was a DUI based on the one article I looked up. But
yeah,
take that with a grain of salt.
I will. So anyways, though, he gets pulled over by the cops, and they didn't know who he was. And all he says is, this is going to ruin the tour.
No, you missed it. Okay, Ellie sent me this.
What tour? And he's like, the world tour. And so I saw a comment, and this is my new personality. I'm going to do this for everything. After every minor inconvenience, we all have to just adopt, this is going to ruin the world tour.
Yes. Okay, you guys, Ellie sent me the like reel or whatever that on Instagram that she saw this information in, and I died because first off, it says he sighed audibly, then said, this is gonna ruin the tour. It's so dramatic. But then it also was the most, I said this in response to her, that response by him, both of those phrasings are the most branch thing he could possibly say, which is the animated character he plays in Trolls. And I'm like, this is
gonna ruin the world tour.
Like, all right, Dead. Baby B, like, or whatever his name is in World Tour, like.
It's Baby B. Okay, so with that being said, all of our celebrity goss is out of the way. We've adopted our new personalities. Let's get into the book stuff.
Let's not ruin the World Tour of books. And
this Wednesday, check out our indie book. We are talking about Sing to Me of Dreams, Nightmares, and Mayfly Deeds by Sarah K.L. Wilson. There are no spoilers. It's safe for you to listen if you haven't read it. We just do a quick summary, and then we talk with the author about her book, and she is incredible. Her book was incredible. It's really fun. We've also highlighted 3 other books this whole month, and we are done now. So we are hopping back into Queen of Shadows next week. And that's that on our side. This episode is going to contain spoilers for both Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. And that should be it. So if you haven't read both of those books, this might not be the episode for you yet, but please come back once you're finished and listen to our theories and see if you agree or hate them and let us know. Melissa, you got anything?
But only let us know if you agree. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, you did a good job. I don't have anything else. I'm just excited to talk about this, so I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. So let's start with this. Onyx Storm is releasing January 21st, 2025. I don't know if you knew that we had a release date, but we do.
Yes.
So
is it 21st or 20? I think I got confused. I thought it was the 25th, but I think I was getting confused with the year it's coming out.
2025. Yeah. No, it's the 21st.
Okay, excellent.
And so we're going to talk about this because Rebecca, this past week, recently completed Onyx Storm and sent it off. So this is very exciting, and in celebratory news, we are going to talk about it. Yes.
She completed her first draft and sent it to the editor. So there is a chance that it's going to change a little bit from the version that it is now. But regardless, we're in the home stretch, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that timeline will be met by the fact that she has finished in June of this year. Also, do you ever read books and like find a misspelled word or a sentence that was grammatically incorrect and you're like,
yikes,
I'm better. I found it.
I should do this. I would be lying if I said that thought had never crossed my mind, even though I know without a shadow of a doubt that I am not better. It still is
mine
fun.
Would be riddled with like a million other mistakes, but that one would be correct.
Exactly. I wouldn't have made that mistake.
Yeah. So, let's talk about a theory that I've seen circulating around her next book, Onyx Storm. This theory comes from EmpyreanWriters.com. That's right. They have an entire website devoted to these theories. I think that's so fun. Fully support that. So, Melissa, when we hear Onyx Storm, we immediately think of who?
Xaden.
Right. Because of what? Do we know?
Because of his eyes. He's described as having onyx eyes.
So he has gold eyes, but they are flecked with onyx. Onyx.
Thank you.
What you said.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said verbatim.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything outside of the golden eyes with flecks of onyx. Oh, man.
Okay. So we get plenty of symbolism matching Xaden to Onyx, such as his eyes, and then also Violet's recognition of his connection to her. She describes it as shimmering onyx wrapping around her mind.
Yeah.
However, Empyrean Writers brings to us the theory that what if Onyx Storm isn't just referring to Xaden, but rather a heavy plot between Xaden and Tairn. Evidence coming from Xaden's bonus chapter in Fourth Wing, where he says, I lower my shields just enough to feel the bond. The hard sapphire one I share with Sigale is locked into place as always, but now there are two more. The onyx I recognize as Tairn, and the other, a glimmering strand of silver, like the ends of her hair. So.
All right. I'm already sold. You don't even
I know, me too.
I'm done. The end.
This theory makes so much sense, and there's so much that goes into it, but it already makes so much sense for me. So Xaden sees Tairn's bond as onyx, but Violet, if we remember from Fourth Wing, sees Tairn's bond as orange, which points us to the idea that Onyx Storm is not going to be a big plot or reveal between Tairn and Violet, but rather Tairn and Xaden, because Xaden sees their bond as onyx and Violet does not.
Oh my gosh, Ellie, you don't even understand how much I'm so buying into this, because I have another theory that we're going to talk about next Hot Goss that would further back up the storm between Tairn and Xaden. Oh my gosh, you don't even understand. You don't even understand.
Okay.
I want to talk about it now, but I'm not going to.
I was going to say, do you want to drop a little hint?
Maybe, but I'll do it at the end.
Okay. So here are where things get incredibly unhinged. And let's remember that the main point of this entire summary is that Tairn and Xaden are going to be mortal enemies in some way, shape, or form. Okay? Let's remember that as the main point, because we are going all over with this roller coaster.
Yes. I love and I hate that so much.
I know. There are several theories that bleed into this overall idea that Onyx Storm will be about a fight between Tairn and Xaden, starting with Tairn and Sigale. Here's the first theory. Tairn and Sigale have had hatchlings. So when talking about Andarna, Xaden asks if she's theirs. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he's so hurt. He has hurt in his eyes, and you get this glimpse that he would be very betrayed if that was the case. But why did Rebecca write about that? There was really nothing else that came from that other than, he would feel sad if they kept something from him. But I felt like that was so specific. And so my question is that foreshadowing? Or is there more to it than that? Are they keeping something from him? Is he realizing that they could?
Yeah, maybe. I know this isn't your theory. It's just something that we read online. Yep. My initial thought is that it's just kind of a red herring right here. And I think Xaden maybe not the fact that they have hatchlings, but maybe that conversation was more to point to the fact that maybe Tairn and Sigale have secrets, and that's what hurts Xaden. But I think it would be so weird and random if they had hatchlings and we didn't find out about it until book 3, you know? Maybe. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but I just feel like that's not the case. But if anything, that conversation could have been just another reference point back to the fact that they are mates and they're going to have some secrets that Xaden isn't going to share with Sigale, and that's going to, like, that hurts.
Well, while we might feel that way, Empyrean Writers feels 1,000% sure that is going to happen. They even said, like, there's always a chance it might not, but I'm 100% sure it's going to happen. And I did not read into why they feel so strongly. Maybe that's going to be another episode. We'll talk about their theory on that. But that threw me because I was like, are we that sure? But they were that sure.
They are that sure. Hey, I'm happy to be wrong about this. It's not going to be a shock if I find out that I was incorrect. Been wrong about a lot of things before, so oh well. But my gut says that they don't have hatchlings.
Okay.
Final answer.
So that's theory number 1. Theory number 2, Naelin did not die. He's Venin, and Tairn severed the connection between him and Naelin, which is why Tairn almost died. He's very ambiguous about that whole bond. So this is one theory that I personally am 1,000,000% sure about. Personally, I think personally that this happened.
Personally, I do as well. And this is actually the theory I was going to bring up as far as further reasoning in my mind as and like I said, we are doing another episode. I'm going to touch on it in another episode, but it goes way deeper than just this. But essentially this theory that Naelin didn't die, that he turned Venin to resurrect Brennan, and then became a Venin, and then Tairn is actually the one who severed the connection because of that, and that's what almost killed him. Was that he was the one who severed the connection. And I think that right there, then having Xaden turn Venin, it's going to give Tairn like PTSD, and that is going to be, in my opinion, a huge
so that points right
driving
back to
force
this theory.
behind exactly that's
awesome.
Fight between the two of them, and not necessarily Violet and Xaden or Violet and Tairn or anything.
Okay,
but continue.
Well, I'm basically saying mostly that. So points to this theory that Naelin didn't actually die and that he's Venin and Tairn severed the connection is the Empyrean writers. They also wrote a theory that Tairn, these aren't points to it, but these are also other possibilities leading towards why Naelin, the whole thing is just not necessarily true. But they talk about Tairn becoming unhinged because Tairn killed Naelin, not just severed the connection, but killed him. Did Naelin turn Venin and then Tairn kill him as soon as he turned? Tairn could be so respected by the elders because he stood for dragonkind and was stronger than all the others by killing his rider.
Interesting.
Or did Tairn become unhinged because, or when I say unhinged, I mean almost die, and then literally like real in that. Did Tairn almost die when Naelin died because the Empyrean wanted to kill him for his execution of Naelin?
Ooh.
So rather than, because I think they talk about other dragons, like their rider dying, and it impacts them, but they weren't like near death. And we assume that like every death of a rider causes a dragon to become, at least I assume that they causes the dragon to become weaker and weaker. To the point where okay, the last one's going to kill them. That bond is so strong or whatever. But
I think it also depends on, my understanding is like, one, how like what bond is this, like what number? Because I don't think many have more than like 2 or 3. I think at that point it's it. But I also think it depends. It doesn't matter if it's their first or what. Like if they're bonded for a really long time, the bond is just so much stronger that it would kill them nonetheless. Even though it's the first bond. So I think it just has to do with like the length, the amount of time that they're bonded. And again, this is just like my bond. Like this. That's just my understanding of bonds from reading Fourth Wing.
Sure.
But But this maybe theory, that's not totally right.
Well, and I think that's what they want us to assume. But I
was under the same impression though. Like if the first one doesn't kill them, the second one it's more intense than when they
every time
rebond.
They lose one.
Exactly.
Yes.
And like with how, and I think the reason I even think that is because of how close Tairn came to dying after Naelin. Naelin was his first bond, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure Naelin was his first.
Sense that
which is why he's like, I'm gonna die with you.
Well, like, why would a dragon almost die with a rider? I guess when historically dragons don't die when their riders die necessarily. Well, actually, didn't
that's not true. That's what I'm
dragon
saying.
Die?
Yeah. Well, Liam died because his dragon died.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So anyways,
riders always die if their dragons die, but dragons don't always die. But I do think that it's not like, oh, the dragon's for sure gonna live. I think it's again, it just depends on the bond, how strong it is, how long they've been bonded, if it's a multiple bond, I think they're more likely, kind of like what Tairn said, like it almost took him out the first time, so it for sure is gonna take him out this time if Violet dies. Like I do think there's an element of not necessarily maybe getting weaker, but I think the bond affecting them more, as they I don't know, I'm not saying this right, but like the more often or like every bond that comes after.
Yeah. So the argument though is that if a dragon is stronger than the rider, and when the rider dies, the dragon doesn't necessarily die, and if Naelin was his first, like it shouldn't have led him necessarily to die or close to death. And so what he said when he said he almost died, could that have been that the Empyrean noticed or saw that he killed him and they were ready to kill him for that? And so that's what he meant by, oh, I almost died. So that could be a huge thing. And then the last point to this is whether Naelin died by Tairn's doing, or Tairn severed the connection. It took a toll on Tairn that caused him to understand what's at stake with the Venin, and the price to pay for their destruction. So
I personally subscribe to, out of those three that you just mentioned, that Tairn's the one who severed the connection because he turned Venin.
You think he's still out there?
I think it would be a really interesting. I'm absolutely, like, I don't even think I'd believe that he's dead if
they told me he was dead.
Yes. You know what though? I will say, now I'm thinking about it. Rebecca Yarros did a live stream, I don't know, like a Instagram live, that's what it is, with another author. And in that, she does say, she's like, I don't bring people back. Like, so all the theories that people have about Violet's, I mean, like, not necessarily. I think she means like,
Rebecca, you're not gonna pull one over on me.
No, I think what she means to say is like a lot of people have theories about Violet. Like even us, we had talked about it in our, like, way back when Iron Flame first came out. We finished it. We had about theories about Liam, not being dead, and her dad not being dead. And I think I think it was maybe more referencing them, like, because people think that they're gonna come back, and she was like, I'm just gonna say this right now, I don't bring people back. I think it's more that. So I guess there's a chance that Naelin, but I just think his death was so much more ambiguous. It wasn't so, like, Liam's, we were a part of it. It killed all of us. And, like, her dad has been dead from the beginning. So it's not, like, any question on if he's possibly still alive. Like, I think people are assuming there's a chance because of other authors and how other stories have gone. But Rebecca has never hinted at any point in her books that her dad is still alive. Naelin's death was so just kind of brushed under the rug, and it's always been assumed that he died. Like, it's
I actually counter that. I know that she said that, but I almost wonder if she's saying that about the deaths that she wrote in, like Liam and like whoever else had died. I don't remember. But those that are ambiguous, such as Violet's dad and such as Brennan came back. There's not necessarily, I mean, I don't think she would, personally, I don't think she's going to write Violet's dad as someone who's alive, because she already wrote one of her family members as someone that died and came back. But I do agree that I think she is referencing Liam in that he's not coming back. Although I wish he would, because I feel I feel like Raising Dead should be her second signet, but it makes sense that it's not, so it's okay.
Yeah. So, which then right then and there, that makes me. I didn't necessarily think bringing resurrection or anything was. Well, I don't remember what I said on our last Iron Flame episode. So if I say I think resurrection is her signet, I am now changing my mind. But I don't think that is her signet, and I feel like her saying that does kind of confirm that it isn't going to be her second signet. But I don't know.
Well, that's good to know.
All this to say, I am 100% in the camp of believing that Naolin didn't die and turned venin, because then technically she's not lying. She doesn't bring people back. He would have never died, if he just turned venin.
Yeah. And Tairn's being really fishy about answering these questions. So let's not get too far from all of this.
No. All I'm going to say is I'm 100% in the camp of that theory that Naolin is venin.
Okay.
And I think even after reading this book, if that, I believe this so much that even if that has nothing to do with the plot of this third book and we find out that he for sure died, part of me is going to be questioning if he is resurrected and that's actually going to come back later on in the story. That's how much I believe this theory, that even if Rebecca says no to my face, I'm going to be like, but are you lying to me?
Fair. Okay. Point 3, Varrish. Let's backtrack real quick and just gather our points. So number 1, Tairn and Sigil have had hatchlings. Number 2, Naolin didn't die. Number 3, Varrish was controlling his dragon because Varrish was venin.
Oh, absolutely. Now, totally believe it.
Right? Me too.
Yeah.
So here's the backup. There's a quote. What do you know about Major Varrish's orange? He looks unstable and hungry. Why would a dragon look unstable? That's weird. That's suspicious. Solas freaking fries everybody. All those cadets. Some were bonded, and he has no punishments. Why was he able to get away with that? Is it because the dragons know that he's not himself?
Well, that, and it's not even just the fact that he didn't get away with it. It's the fact that he just did it, and exactly like you said, he didn't seem like himself, and no dragon in their right mind would just be like, yep, let me just go ahead and fry some of these people for no reason. I
know.
Unless there's something wrong with them, or their writer, and so them by extension.
Yeah, well, you're gonna love this next point. Varrish says to Violet, maybe you struggle. Some of us do not bow to the whims of our dragons. In fact, we influence them. So, I'm sorry. In what world does a writer influence their dragon?
I know.
Not
exactly.
in our world. So, did Solas not want to kill those cadets? Because to me, this is the biggest clue that Varrish was venin and that venin control their dragon. I mean, we don't know much about venin, but I would assume they are controlling their dragons based on Jack's interaction with his dragon, that she just willingly let him kill her. That was nuts.
Not even that, that she kept the secret from everyone that they were resurrecting him. That's so sus.
Exactly. You're onto it. So this isn't typical dragon rider relationship. What gives? So next point. Varrish was obsessed with finding out about Andarna. Yes. The only dragon who could kill venin.
Yes.
That would make sense. You get it?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Andarna makes a comment that venin... This one I'm like, okay, we're pulling a little. But everything else, totally on board. Andarna makes a comment that venins smell of stolen magic when you get close enough. When Solas breathes, quote, fetid breath fills the air a second before he curls his tongue. This kind of points to Solas being corrupted because...
I think that for me, that's even further proof, and here's why.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, I actually recently saw a quote on Reddit online by Reddit user EasyMac91.
Nice.
They said it's on the dragon note with venin riders. It's been said that they have breath that smells of rot. which seems like an indicator. So the dragon's breath smells like rot. And so the fact that Andarna says that about Solus, again, to me, that's just further proof that
this point
Varrish
was so
Venin.
like toss over my shoulder, but now I pull it back. This is part of it. Okay,
it's no longer a stretch.
Thank you.
This is
it's
now
no longer a
fully
stretch.
in-game.
This is canon. Yep. Okay. So his breath was corrupted because Varrish was Venin and controlling him. And then lastly, and this one I don't necessarily agree, but I might. I would love it if it was true, just because he's such a good villain.
Pull something.
Maybe you'll back it up. There's also a thought that Varrish isn't really dead. We'll have to get into that in another episode because there's so much to that. But Violet stared at him and watched the life drain from his eyes, and that was just such a dramatic way, I felt like, to make us think that he didn't really die. But if Rebecca said, I don't raise my dead.
Exactly. Then... I think he's done. I think he was such a great bad guy. We hated him so much. She wrote him so well, and he served his purpose. And now this next book, it's going to shift to the Venin or something.
Yeah.
Being more of like the new bad guy. Like, I think Varrish is done, especially she said she doesn't raise people from the dead. To be fair, this theory was written before that interview where Rebecca says that.
True.
So
it was
very
true.
Like, I 100%, had I not seen her say that, would have been like, I hate that so much, but I could totally see it happening. But now that she's said it, I don't think that that's going to happen. Yeah. But we have to me, way more context
just
now.
The heavy evidence of like, I stared at him just to make sure he was dead. I really made sure he was dead. I watched the life drain from his eyes to make sure he was dead. To me, it was written as if like someone's offering you a drink and they make a point of like, drink this lemonade. And you're like, nobody writes about like offering someone a liquid unless it's spiked with poison. And so to me, that was like a big emphasis on something that could have, but he was a bad guy. So a big emphasis on his death should have been written. You know?
I was just about to say, to play devil's advocate, I totally agree with what you're saying. And I do think that is a very not so subtle, but subtle way that authors make reference to something they are going to bring back later on. But I also think this exact same thing is done when a very prominent or like a very significant death happens. And I would say he was a very significant death because he caused so much like stress and destruction and literal pain and everything for Violet throughout the entire almost the whole Iron Flame book. And he was like such a main point of contention that it was more of the satisfaction of knowing that he was actually dead in that moment.
Yeah, for sure.
But
okay,
I will, because to me, and I guess fast forward for the next like 30 seconds if you haven't read the Throne of Glass series, because I'm about to reference something in there. But I felt like Sarah made a really huge emphasis on Arobin being dead when that all happened. And I think a lot of people were like, waiting for him to come back. And I mean, okay, sure, Selena or Aelin, sure, like she went down there and beheaded him, but like you just never know. Like the fact that she even went down there to confirm that he was dead, like it's, to me, it's giving the same.
That's true.
Like, brought it up multiple times, but it was just because Arobin was such a jerk and so gross and icky, and we hated him so much that it was more, I think, for us as readers to be like, he's dead, I promise you, he's dead.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Varrish here's where I bring it all back together, if Varrish being Venin, that theory is true, and it turns out that Venin can control their dragons, which based on what we know of Venin, this is not super far off to me, and based on every point, us being like, yes, checks the boxes. Just
nice. Wow, that came out of nowhere.
Didn't even have time to cover my mouth, just right into the mic.
You did it. That was so fun to watch. I'm gonna be honest. Okay. I hope everyone's like watching this too, not just listening, because that was incredible.
Then my eyes are watering. Okay, here's the big twist. Then will Xaden have the ability to control Sigale after a certain time? And maybe that's why she said, "I chose you." Like, you know, you can't flip the script on me. I chose you because you were the good one. And yes.
And that's another reason why Tairn will hate Xaden.
And if Sigale and Tairn did have hatchlings, and the mother of his babies is being controlled by a venin, Tairn will go absolutely psychodrama bananas, which leads us back to the main point that if Tairn, it could be Tairn versus Xaden in some kind of insane internal struggle or mental war that could lead to a severed connection, which could potentially kill all of them. So if they don't find a cure, this could be a lot more detrimental than we initially assumed. Honestly, even without...
I'm so obsessed.
Yes, even without the hatchlings theory, I think Xaden controlling Sigale would be enough for Tairn to lose his absolute marbles.
100%. You're right. If the hatchling thing would just add insult to injury for him, I think, but there's totally enough reasoning and proof isn't the right word, but I'm gonna say it anyways, like proof with just what we know without having to even include hatchlings for it to make sense that he would go psycho banana crazy. That's what you said, right? That's my favorite
psychodrama bananas.
Psychodrama bananas.
That's an Ellie original, baby.
Right there. You heard it here first, folks. Psychodrama bananas. We should have a segment just called Psychodrama Bananas. I don't even know what it would be, but it's just a fun name.
Something good. Yeah.
All right. Wow. 100% subscribe to this. I'm obsessed with this. This has to be what it is. I will say too, I don't remember if it was in that same live or if I just read this online somewhere. So I wish I could give credit to where I saw this. I know I saw it somewhere. I just can't remember where it was, but someone said that Rebecca states that this series in particular is written like a W, in the sense of the first book was ended kind of on a hopeful, a high. Second book ended on a low, and so this next book should end a little bit more on a high. Like how in Fourth Wing we find out at the very, very end that Brennan's still alive, so it's like what? It's more it's a cliffhanger, but it's more of an exciting one, not so much of whereas the end of Iron Flame we're all
a cliffhanger in a bad way.
We're all crapping our pants because Xaden just became Venin.
Why does this give me chills more than any of the other theory does? That's
I have
so
no idea.
Cool.
So all that to say is if this really is the plot, which I hope it is because I love this direction, I think we'll have hopefully at least it should end hopeful, and it shouldn't end with us being thinking one of them is dead or all of them are dead or something. Again, I don't know. I think Rebecca said that, but I can't exactly remember where I read that to confirm if it was her or if it was someone saying, well, I heard her she says this, and in which case I don't believe it at all. But her past two books are evidence for the W theory.
Yeah, totally. Oh, so, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that is our Hot Goss episode. Once again, like and subscribe, and we will see you all next week. Have a great day.
Toodles!